Hey everybody, it's Linda with Stamping School. I'm working out of the annual catalog this week in 2022, page 25, in this lovely and lasting bundle. I've used it before, but I am so far behind on birthday cards that this has been my go-to set for cards. I love it, and I love that it's just a punch. I don't have to do any die cutting, and it's been really great. It's a good bundle with the punch, and I definitely recommend both on this particular one because this dotted label matches the punch, and that's been really great. Thank you, happy birthday. This one cracks me up. The oh, hello. I'll probably just say hello if I use it. I'm like, oh, hello. Thinking of you, best of luck, and all these cute little guys that go along with it. Cheers, and this little background stamp. Anyway, these two and the sentiments have been what I've been using over and over again. I'm gonna show you 3 different cards, which pretty much the same layout, but different colors, and then a few different tricks on each one. This is the first one, Balmy Blue on Balmy Blue, a little bit of embossing. Now I'm using my Stamparatus. If you don't have a stamp positioner, that's okay, you can just use a block, but I just find it's so much easier to stamp big graphic things. If I miss a little bit, I can stamp it again. So I have a layer of Balmy Blue that's 4 inches by 5 1/4. So you could stamp it just on the blue card and it'd be fine, but I really like having the layer and pop it up a little bit. I've got the ribbon tucked in there. It just steps it up just a wee bit. I'm gonna take my big stamp. This is photopolymer, which is the clear, which means in your Stamparatus, you wanna make sure you use the foamy mat. And I always have my silicone pad underneath just for a little extra boost. But this extra foam is for the clear stamps. I'm gonna put it where I want it, right about here, and do that. All right, stick the magnets on here. Magnet here, magnet here, and then literally just Balmy Blue on Balmy Blue. So you don't have to take it off the hinge, but I find on camera it's a little bit easier trying to hit you with all the glare. So I love it that, you know, if I miss a little bit, or like right here, I got an ink mark, I can go back over it and hit it again and make sure that I get it all the way. Some people use an eraser, some people use their palm. I just kind of, you know, go around. I like to make sure there's a little bit of control there. Now this is a little bit darker, it's gonna lighten as it dries. So this card layout started because I love this ribbon. This is ribbon that's in the holiday catalog. It's a Balmy Blue and white stripe, and I thought it was just so pretty. There's some little dots in here. I like to add these around just a little bit here and there. And then now I can add my ribbon right here. It's thick, and there's only 5 yards on the spool, but you're not gonna tie it in a bow necessarily because it is a thick twill. But I just love it when the ribbons match like that. So I'll bring it across here and tape it behind, and then I'll add that panel here. So let me show you quickly how this looks. I tied on a little bit of white twine, and then here I added Balmy Blue and white embossing on the sentiment, so the white repeats 3 times. This one is stamped white, so while I've got this mounted, I'm gonna come in here and stamp it again with the Balmy Blue on white, and then I can trim out those flowers. So that's what I did. I stamped Balmy Blue on white just to pop up that one flower, trimmed it out by hand, and then just stuck that on there. So I like it that the white repeats 3 times, and then the large flower, I stamped this here, and I just glued the large flower on here. So I still have room to write my note, and then added some sequins, and that's an easy one. Now the second one is polished pink and white and black. So, you know, we have the ribbons that match, but I just love the black and white. Black, white, and pink has always been one of my favorites. Some people say it's outdated. I don't know. I think it's happy. I like it. And see how it's real shiny right here? So we're gonna do a little clear embossing on this one. And you could just stamp it with pink on pink, but This is a little more special. And like I say, if you emboss it, you love them a little bit more. So a layer of the polished pink or whatever color you want. This really works with so many different flowers. You could just do anything here. But I do really like that big solid graphic flower. Versamark, that's your clear, sticky watermark stamp, but you can emboss with it also. Make sure it's juicy if you're embossing with clear powder. You know, we sell the re-inkers also. It's very thick, and you know, you have to really squeeze to kind of get it out. I actually usually make the hole a little bit bigger in there, just so I can get more out. But you just rub it in like that. It's okay if it looks a little dirty. It's not too bad. It's not going to transfer. And since we're going to be embossing, I want to show you the new kit. Get a product plug right here. This is in the holiday catalog. We've been waiting for one of these to come back for a long, long time, and this one is really good. So here's my old one that we had years ago, and look at this sad little embossing buddy. It's really flat. I've had this for 20 years. That's how long they last, this poor little thing. But this was our original tray, and there was a bigger one too, and it had this plug, which half the time I lost. So, and it works fine still, but this one comes with the screw down the bottom, which is really nice, so I'm not going to lose the plug. And it's got these amazing tweezers that are the reverse tweezers, so that if you're picking something up and holding it while you're embossing, see that? It just, that spring on there holds it. And this won't get hot because it's like some kind of a plastic. I heated it for at least a minute, and it did not get that warm. So the other tweezers I have get very hot coming up here. These hold well, and they're nice and sturdy. So when you're embossing, and a brand new embossing buddy, and a little brush to kind of help you get all your powder down or to get extras off of here. So it's a great little kit, comes in a box. It's going to be really good for gift giving this season. All right, so let's use that. First thing, we're going to do embossing. So you want to use your embossing buddy to get off all the extra oils and static off of your paper. Close this back up. A Versamark. I know you probably can't see it, plus there's a glare. It's a sticky clear ink, so the embossing powder sticks to it. It's called a watermark pad because you can let it just air dry and you'll see a tone on tone, but it's really, can you see? It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to hit it one more time because I see a little bald spot right there that I missed. Make sure that's exactly the same, always up in the corner. Down. And then this is where these tweezers come in handy, so you don't burn your fingers. Clear embossing powder. Now you could do a glitter, or you could do a color or anything, but we're just going for that tone on tone. If you got any little flyaways, you can use this. I sort of blow and knock those off at the same time. Move that away. This goes back in the jar. And heat. All right, 30 seconds. See? Not hot. It's amazing. I love these things. See how pretty though? So here's just inked, which is fine. But then this one, you love them a little more. So then from here, I did exactly the same thing. I ran this black and white ribbon, which we still have this year in the annual catalog. Ran that up here, tied it with a little bow, stamped this in the polished pink, cut it out, and then here is the sentiment. Now for the sentiment, if you're just doing one, I like to stamp the sentiment in there first and then do the frame around it. I don't know why, I just feel like it works a little bit better for me to stamp this first and then come in with the frame over top of it. I don't know, I can just see it better for some reason. In the polished pink, make sure that's dry, and then punch. Now, if you want to stick around at the end of the video, I'll show you how I do them on the Stamparatus in bulk, so you can do a lot more at once. So there you go. Dimensionals, sequins, make it pretty. All right, that's the second one. All right, and the third one, is using designer paper on the edge, and then I'm going to show you how I get the extra color on here using the Stamparatus. So this is 2 inches of paper folded down the middle. This is that celebration paper. You know what? It has not been everybody's first choice, and it looks terrible in the catalog. Well, not terrible, but you know, you can't really see what it looks like. Look at this pretty paper. This is free with a $50 order. Look at this pretty watercolor paper. Let me show you the other side. This is the other side that we're going to be using. This could really go with blush also, but I'm using Petal Pink. You get the little mushrooms and butterflies. And this is the Rings of Love, by the way, free with a $50 order, but this goes with the dies and stamps that are in the holiday catalog, the winter mini. You got houses. And look at this side, so pretty. Look at the birds. Aren't they cute? Love them. You just can't see how pretty this is in that little picture in the Celebration catalog. Fall. Look at those pretty colors. That one's not my favorite, but it won't matter because I love this one. Side. And then the winter with the poinsettias and some branches. Anyway, just had to show that real quick. So this will go right along the edge of the card just to add a little bit extra. Some pattern in here. Put that right here. So it's 1 inch on each side. You could just do 1 strip, of course. You could do it right here, but I like how smooth that is. It gives a little extra something in the back. I'm going to put some white twine on here anyway, so that'll cover up the seam. All right, so I need to move this over. Let me clean it off real quick. So I'm going to hold this down, and I'm going to put the stamp right here. Same thing, right here. Okay, and Petal Pink on Petal Pink. Now in my sample here, I did it 3 times and it turned pumpkin on me. So I'm going to not do that this time. I'm going to try to do just 1 good coat on here. Right here. The larger the stamp and the more solid it is, the more you want to press it. If it's a little greeting like this, you want to very lightly. You don't want to smush it around. Good. Now it's going to dry. Now I want to get this red in here, which is the Sweet Sorbet, I think. I'm going to use my regular marker. And right here, I'll bring this up here so you can see it. I'm going to color in this big one right here. Now the Petal Pink ink is pretty much off of the stamp anyway, but this is darker, so it's not going to hurt my marker. And I'm just brushing the color in toward the center, coloring it in. Okay. And then because it's staying in the same spot, I can get it just right. Look at that. And I'm even going to do it one more time to make sure that it's nice and dark. Now you could just take the fine point and color that in, but this is a lot easier. This is not my alcohol marker. This is the water-based marker. You don't want to use the alcohol markers on your stamps because it probably won't come off, and it's not wet long enough to do this little trick with, but there it is. Did the same thing on white again. So I also stamped it again on white, trimmed it out just like I did with the other one. And then this little sentiment up here, some white twine. I like that one too. All right, now let me show you how I do the greetings, the sentiments in bulk. So let's say that I want to make a whole bunch of these, and I have a lot of birthday cards to catch up on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make myself a template. I'm going to just take some white cardstock. I'm going to put my stamp down right here. It doesn't have to be straight because this is just going to be kind of the template for it. Do this. Make sure this is nice and flat. Okay, now we're going to ink it up and stamp it. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this out. And that is going to be my template. And you got to make sure it's really good. Make sure it's just about perfect. Okay. put it back in exactly where it's supposed to go. Put that aside for a second. Now you want to make some blanks. So you know when the Stamparatus first came out, and I have a Stamparatus video series from back then when it first came out, so you can go and watch that. I'll link to it below. We did a lot of these. I call them blanks. I really don't know what else to call them, but it just works really well. To make a whole bunch of these, make a template, and you can do that with die cuts as well. And I'm gonna make a whole bunch of these like that. Then I can come in here and add this in. And I will say, sometimes, I don't know if this punch is 100% symmetrical, but you wanna make sure that these fit in perfectly. There you go, just like that. And then ink it up, and then you can just go, 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 and stamp all of these. And you know the little pickup tool that we have? It's with the sticky stuff on the end. That's what I use to pick these up and set it aside. Now, you can also do your sentiment too, but I tend to do all of these all at once, and then I'll go back and I'll put in the sentiment. So let's do that. You can leave this here if you want to. That's why we have two different plates. So if you want to, you can do your other sentiment up here and stamp the birthday or the thinking of you in here. But I tend to just do all of these. I get all the pink stamped, and then I go through and then I'll do all the sentiments. So let me show you that. So once I have all these stamped, my blanks, I put this back in here. This goes in here, and you just get it where you think it's gonna look good. I use this little guy. Make sure it's clean, obviously. Make sure your stamp is clean. And once you get this lined up once, then you're done. So if you think that looks good, bring it here. And you know what you can do also is you can look this way, because that's why those grid lines are there. And you can look to see, does everything look lined up, and it looks pretty good there. And then you pop all these in, ink this up with black. And you know, this Memento black ink can be a little fussy sometimes if it's too juicy. So just don't press too hard until you know how juicy it is. Yeah. So that looks good. See, if I'm a little heavy-handed right here, it's a little darker. So just be careful. You know, this might be when you use just very light pressure till you get the hang of that with these fine gradings. And I got a little pink ink right there, so I'm gonna put a little rhinestone right there. And I pick it up, and then I put the next one in, and I just keep going, and I get them all done at one time. So that's how I do all of these in bulk. Okay, so there we are. I actually really recommend this bundle. I think it's just really versatile. Here's my 3 cards. I'll post the recipes for all of those below in the description. And there we go. We'll see you next time. See it, learn it, stamp it.